G'day, g'day world. Do I have a doozy of a thing to share with you? This is a mission report for our astral travel guerrilla light force. If you don't know what that is, welcome to the party. You're going to hear all about it. Now, I'm truly blessed to be working with some of the very, very best people that I've met at this game. And our little team seems to be able to do things that none of us can do individually. So we're incredibly grateful and we're doing some mind-blowing stuff out there. So let me tell you what tonight was all about. Tonight we took the choice to target the World Health Organization. Now, for the last couple of weeks prior, I was doing solo missions on the Reserve Bank of the US. And, you know, I'd hit it and then they wouldn't fix it. And then I'd hit it a bit more and then they wouldn't fix it. And then I hit it a bit more and they wouldn't fix it. And it clicked to me that, their dark magicians are not interested in maintaining the Federal Reserve System anymore. It's not something they want to do. And so they've lost interest in it. I've lost interest in it. And I tried to think, what are the new organizations that they plan to use to subjugate humanity? And the World Health Organization was the one. That was the one that came up first. And so, we got together, we checked out what is the most important location for them in the world. And we got an underground base in southern Germany, just in the Alps there, in between Switzerland and Austria. So what did we see there? Well, we saw these three major buildings, 12, 15-story buildings, underground bases. And we went through them level by level by level by level, remote viewing, one by one by one. And what we saw in all three of them were managerial complexes where literally some of the fattest, ugliest, most arrogant, can't swear on this channel, terrible people would sit around and measure who has the longest one. It was ridiculous the way they would just try and out-arrogant each other. It was amazing. They all got captured and their spirits all got captured and got sent to a galactic court so that their deeds can be punished appropriately. The second were the administrative group who were looking at the results of the experiments that they were conducting on humans, be they jab-related or otherwise. The third group were actively performing those experiments on human beings. There were usually, in the three buildings, two of them had prison complexes so that their medical experiments had a constant feed of fresh meat, is the only way to say it. But what we did, step by step, level by level, one by one, we captured the spirit of each individual there and we took it to a galactic Federation of Light court. And I have total faith in them. I've watched what they've done before and they are excellent. They find a really appropriate punishment, really fitting, really matching to what they're doing. Now, the other thing is that if you do scoop up 100 people or 500 people from a complex like this, some of them are going to be too stupid to know what they're doing. And some of them are going to be really enthusiastically pushing for the furtherment of this incredible evil, this incredible nastiness that they're performing on humans. And in between, the Galactic Federation of Light Courts can figure out who's enthusiastic and who's being dragged along and who's being coerced. They're really good. Check them out when you get the chance. At the bottom of the first building, we found we just called it the red door. And what the hell was the red door about? As soon as we opened it, there's this huge sucking feeling that just wanted to take and take and take. And it took a little, we prepared ourselves and then we went in there. We found, a 4 or 5 story tall beast that was defending this room. It didn't take us long to sort him out. And then we cleansed the room, which took a lot longer than we expected because so much misery and pain had been going through this particular dimension. On the other side of it is what we is where it really started to get interesting, because on the other side of that dimension was another portal that, and I've seen this before. Usually, they all of this loosh, all of this energy that's being sucked out of humanity, goes through a couple of stages, and then it ends up on some other planet to be administered by some other alien race. And that's exactly what we found. Strangely enough, though, we were led by an elk, which is the totem animal of plenty and mega abundance, which will be clear after we figure out what happened here. And so we stepped through it bit by bit by bit. And on the other side of these portals, so there was a fork in this portal series, and with the first fork, we found what looked like a German village on a moon somewhere halfway across the galaxy. I thought, what the hell is this doing here? And there was no population, there's no people there. It was just an idyllic village. And so we scratched our heads for a while and tried to figure out what it was doing there. But what the idea was that this is either a Nazi holiday camp, or it's a blueprint for what they want the rest of humanity to be. It's a Nazi nostalgia location. But what we saw there was a machine, a technology of creation impossible on Earth and quite rare and unique around the galaxy. And our Pleiadian friends were ecstatic that we had found the damn thing, because they'd been looking for it for a long time. What did it do? This is a machine. It was probably about 2 stories tall and is cylindrical, and it glowed with a pulsing pink light. And I'm not sure we're not certain of all of its functions, but this is what we understand it to do. It is currently exploring and publishing fresh emotions. What kind of emotions? The emotions that allow us to regard our future potential slave masters, for us to understand that they love us, that they enslave us because they love us. This is a warped little piece of machinery, but it was being fueled by so much loosh. It was incredible. I can't believe how much they put into it. Because if they do get that thing to work, if they do create an emotion that can make us happy in our slavery and grateful to our slave masters, that's half of their battle won. That's the hearts and minds already done. And it'll work through the 5G technology that they can literally radio transmit that emotion to the population. And so the Pleiadians were ecstatic that we had actually found it, because they knew it existed, but they couldn't find it anywhere, because they didn't carry the frequency. We actually did, so it wasn't that tricky for us to get hold of it. And so I took it, put it through a portal, and released it into the center of our sun, where in a minute or so it collapsed, evaporated, and became part of the sun. And literally the Pleiadians threw a party. They are so glad. They were ecstatic. They love the fact that we got rid of that thing. And it's important, because winning the hearts and minds is critical to what comes next. Absolutely critical. And if that's one of their major devices, one of their major tools, then it's gone. It's gone. It's over. We came back. We took the other portal, the other fork in the portal, and we found another ravenous maw, another huge gaping mouth sucking in loosh. Well, okay, well, we stood back before we stepped through the portal door. We stood back and we just watched for a bit, and you know, and it was like this mouth was in a sphere of other portals that were all feeding loosh to it. And I thought that was weird, because I'd never seen or heard of anything like it, but it was like a whole room of loosh collection. And what we found on the other side of it was, what's the word? One of the Dark Lords of the universe, I think. Well, that's how I identified him. Still not sure. But whoever he was a big fish. not that tough in terms of astral combat, because in every single instance, light defeats dark. Light technology, that the whole feeling of light immediately just obliterates dark. And so although he might have half of the galaxy enthralled who are in fear and awe of him, he still doesn't have an effective defense against light. It's pathetic. And so we whittled him down to something the size of a goat, captured him in a little trap dimension, and took him to Central Sun. Now, one of the things I also did, which I thought was sensible, was to also shut down all of those portals, because why on earth should we let a punk like that be fed from the entire universe? And so when I took him to the Central Sun, I said, here he is, please take care of him in the way that you think is most appropriate. And they asked, who do you think you are? And I said, hey, I'm just defending my planet. That's all I'm doing. And as it turns out, I had crossed a line and I had broken galactic law, because I think they got that little pink machine to work on other planets. And there are some planets where the peoples are begging him to suck the life out of them, where they actually have found gratitude for their slave master, for their ultimate slave master. And so because they've given permission, because it's of their free will, because that connection is enjoyed by both parties, for me to break it, I'm breaking the rules. Go figure that one out. But that's free will. And so I'm not looking forward. I'm incredibly curious, but also ready to face whatever judgment Central Sun has to dictate. But when we came back to cover, and so this was a big deal. There was quite a party from the Pleiadians and the Syrians, who also got a piece of tech that they were incredibly curious about. Piece of dark tech, I should say, that we captured. And then we went back just to make sure that the WHO doesn't have anything left to work with. We went through and we crushed the other two buildings. We went through and captured all of the spirits that were performing the same medical, the same administrative, the same evil, the same imprisonment stuff to humans for experimentation purposes. And we got rid of them just to make sure that the WHO's got nothing left to work with. Now, today's the 1st of March on 2022. I'm really curious to see what happens through the WHO and the news in the next few days, because other missions that we've gone on has had an immediate effect on that. So I know this is going to be an interesting video and I know you'll love it. However, if you only take the time to watch one of my videos, I highly recommend the video that you watch it's called Who is Replacing the Reptilians? It has a lot to say about the global political wrangle that's going on right now. And it explains a lot of Earth galaxy relations and all the diplomatic and military exchange that's going on there, and why the place is so crazy right now. But if you check that out, you'll learn a lot about about why this pandemic came into being. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and all of that sort of stuff. But if you have a particular target that you think would be useful for our group to attack, then please put it in the comments. If you think that if you think I made a misstep with the Reserve Bank, let me know. If you think there's another organization that we don't know about that we should hit, please fill us in. And don't just don't just name it. Give us some usable intelligence. Give us some detail as to who they are, what they do, and where they might be found. Thanks for listening. I'm glad to be working for Planet Earth, and I look forward to your support in doing so. Thanks heaps, everyone. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye.